Breaking news this morning, the Knicks will not get Julius Randle back for a playoff run. He will undergo season-ending surgery on his right shoulder. Our senior insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, broke the news and is with us now. Woj, how did Julius and the Knicks arrive at this decision?
And Malika, ultimately, Julius Randle, in his consultation with, the Knicks doctors, with other specialists, it kept coming back to the same thing, that he was risking further injury, perhaps even lasting injury on that shoulder if he came back and re-injured it versus getting that procedure done now and being in position to come back, around the start of next season. But certainly Julius Randle exhausted every avenue to try to figure out a way to come back and play, rejoin this Knicks team that when he and OG Anunoby had played together for that brief window, 12-2 in their 14 games together, and certainly his understanding, that this was a team that had a chance, to make a real run in the Eastern Conference playoffs. But in the end, for Julius Randle, despite trying in lots of different ways, exhausting, every avenue, that medically he had to get this procedure and not risk maybe perhaps more significant injury in that dislocated right shoulder.
It's admirable in some ways that he wanted to go through every possible avenue in order to return. You and I both know that for many years he was known as an Iron Man in this league. But Woj, he did get hurt in January. So why did he wait so long before making this decision?
Malika, essentially to just do what we discussed, the idea that if there was a way he could come back, if there was a way that his shoulder could, sustainably get through, this season, get through a physical playoff series, multiple series, he wanted to play. And that ultimately it was just not strong enough to be able to withstand. You know how Julius Randle plays. He's a physical player. And the idea that he could further injure that shoulder, knowing that this is a Knicks team that they can have this group back next season. They can be one of the favorites in the East. Certainly They've got to re-sign OG Anunoby this summer. But it got to a point, I was told, with Julius Randle where if he waited any longer, he was now risking, maybe missing more of next season than he needed to. So they decided finally now, get this procedure now. And the hope is, he can be back, around the start of the 24-25 season.
Right, and that's so important to not just lose a portion of this season, potentially the most important portion of this season, but not next season as well. This is, so Woj, as you know, such a bummer for Julius Randle. He takes such joy in being out on the floor. And this happened when the Knicks were up by 17 points in a game in January. So Randle posted this on Instagram this morning. He said, "The journey is the journey. Just keep going. It is what you think it is," with a couple of emojis there. This is NBA Today, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. And this is just, there's no way else to slice it. It's a huge blow for the New York Knicks. This felt like a franchise that was revitalized this season, guys. They had some early successes with the play of Jalen Brunson, Kendrick Perkins, Brian Windhorst, Zach Lowe here with me as well. Brian, I mean, how devastating is this for the Knicks?
Well, I think the team had sort of come to terms with this over the last week or two. They knew that he had stopped really progressing with his rehab. I think it's important for fans to know that timeline that Woj outlined. It wasn't like Julius could have immediately had surgery in January and then been back.
Right.
He had to go through this. Going through this process left the door open for him to return. But I think what the Knicks now are looking towards is, can OG Anunoby get back? Because while this team was absolutely at their best with OG and Julius playing, when OG has played, they've been a terrific team, and OG brings some of the things that Randle is now not going to be able to bring. So if they're able to get OG back, which is still on the table, I still think there's some matchups that are favorable for the Knicks. And I still think they can have a playoff run.
Well, it's about time. I think it's about damn time when it comes down to Julius Randle. I was wondering what was taking him so long, because as a guy that had 4 shoulder surgeries, I know how that process goes, and it don't end well when you try to rehab and come back. You have to go and get this thing repaired, and it was the right decision for him. And I know as a player, you want to try to do everything in your power, right? You go get a opinion from one doctor, and then you go get an opinion from another doctor, and they both tell you the same thing. But as a player, you like, nah, maybe I could fight through it and defeat the odds, but that's not it. But as far as the Knicks, look, the organization, the Knicks fan base, as the mayor, I'm telling
mayor in New York City.
I'm telling everyone to keep a cool booty. It's okay. It's okay. And I understand the window. Like, if you look at the window of the opportunity right now for us them to maximize in the Eastern Conference, how vulnerable the East look outside the Boston Celtics, you're like, man, we had a shot at it. But you can have a shot at it next year. And also, they have developed a culture that has become eye candy to the rest of the league. Now, I understand Wendy, Malika, Zach, y'all could dive into the first apron, second apron, and all that. I don't really know the logistics behind that. But what I will say is that if you get a disgruntled superstar this upcoming off season, New York is a great destination for one.
But you're already punting to this offseason when this is a team that we were talking about making it to the Eastern Conference Finals potentially.
Yeah, because, look, let's be real. When I look at the East, they still could make it to the conference finals, but the Knicks want to make it to the finals. And in order for them to get past the Celtics, they need everyone. And even when OG Anunoby gets back, he's not going to be 100%. He's still going to have problems with that elbow.
This is a crusher.
I love it when you shaking your head when I say
When I nod. You like it when I nod. Going forward, you're right. But for this season, I thought the Knicks at full blast could have been the second best team in the East and the team best positioned to push Boston really hard in a playoff series. There's still a roadmap for them to be really good. They're plus 10 per 100 possessions when Brunson plays and Randle doesn't. You mentioned Anunoby, and the two of them plus the rest of the team without Randle is still a good team. But I just don't think the ceiling is quite high enough to push Boston. In the playoffs against the best teams, you need as many dudes as possible who can create their own shot from nothing. And Julius Randle can do that. And like Perk said, we don't know what condition OG Anunoby is going to come back in, if he's going to be able to stay healthy, how long he's going to be able to stay healthy, and all of that. So for now, it's a crusher. Long term, the Knicks have turned the page completely. They are in an ideal position going forward. It stinks.
OG Anunoby has been dealing with that elbow issue, that elbow injury. Woj, what more can you tell us on if we can expect him back and in what condition, as these guys have brought up?
No, exactly. And I think, and Zach said it, the question is getting OG Anunoby back and being able to have him healthy and keeping him back. He did return for a brief period, after that early February procedure on his elbow, and the inflammation, the irritation returned shortly after. What the Knicks are trying to do with OG Anunoby now is to bring him back when he's ready to stay back. Certainly looking at the big picture of the postseason, and they don't want to have him in and out of the lineup with this injury. So they're giving this injury time to heal, to get past that inflammation, irritation. And the hope is still that he can return. And when he returns, guys, that he can stay back and they can count on him being in the lineup and not in and out. And I think bringing him back the first time and then seeing him go out, it gave them a sense of how this injury was healing and how they would have to move forward with it. I think they learned something from that, and now they're trying to get him back in a way that allows him to remain on the floor and not be in and out of the lineup.
Do people realize how valuable OG is? I know we do, but do the fan base and people out there in the outside world realize?
Well, he's like 15-2 when he plays.
Yeah, he's the second most important player on this Knicks team, and that's including Julius Randle. Like, with Julius Randle, no OG Anunoby, they're a really good team. OG Anunoby puts them into the teams for as title contenders. That's how much he moves the needle.
I agree with you on the ranking of the players, because if you're going to have the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands a lot, and my God, is that dude good, you want the ball in his hands a lot, a guy with OG Anunoby's skill set, 3 and D and A+ at both of those things, is theoretically, and I think realistically, a little bit more valuable than a guy with Julius Randle's skill set.
Right.
But I think for this team to really get where they want to go, which, as Perk said, is conference finals and maybe finals, they need everybody. They can still do some damage in the playoffs if OG comes back. That's how good they are without him. But I just think their ceiling went from here to here, and that's the difference between Boston feeling threatened and not.
Right, because right now the Knicks, they currently sit as the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference, and there's really just a 2-game cushion between them and falling into the play-in tournament. As you can see here, tonight's game against the Kings, it's going to be a big one. But Perk, you know what's also huge?
What's that?
Caitlin Clark in Cleveland, preparing to face UConn in the Final Four.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jack from Jaggy Sports here. Breaking news, devastating news. If you're a New York Knicks fan, and especially Julius Randle. Julius Randle is out for the season with shoulder surgery. And he won't return until the start of next season. Really devastating news because everybody in the world thought the Knicks were going to do something. I wouldn't say everybody, but like a lot of people said that, you know, on paper they're fantastic. Like everybody saw what they did after the OG Anunoby trade. And then they went and got Bogdanovich and they looked damn good. But then all of a sudden OG got injured. Julius Randle got injured, and that was in January. Everybody's asking the question, why did he wait until now to get the surgery? So the thing with Julius Randle is he wanted to be absolutely sure he tried every possible treatment available to him to actually fix his problems besides shoulder surgery. And that did not work. So that is why, as you just saw with Brian Windhorst, he's pretty much said it, that this is not going to work. You have to get shoulder surgery. And Big Perk said it himself. He said, because he's got so many shoulder surgeries in his career, you can't mess around with that. You have to get surgery. And that's where the Julius Randle thing is sitting. Apparently he's devastated. He doesn't like this one bit. He wanted to play. You know, it could have been the Knicks season this year to go far into the playoffs. I don't know about now, right? I know you got Jalen Brunson doing his thing. They got to, you know, move around a couple of pieces. And I know you got Mitchell Robinson coming back. And quite frankly, it's kind of like, what are the Knicks' chances? What are the Knicks' chances moving forward? They're already in the playoffs. They are already in the playoffs, but what happens now, right? You got Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid. He returned, and he looks damn good. The Bucks don't look damn good. They just don't, right? They got to figure some stuff out. Boston is Boston. They are pretty much the standard for the Eastern Conference. Quite frankly, everybody has them penciled into the Eastern Conference Finals. Miami, you never know with Miami, right? Miami, when you got Jimmy Butler on your team, you can pretty much do anything, right? Except against Joker. Now, the problem here is you have a lot of weapons, New York Knicks. You have a lot of weapons, but now you don't have Julius Randle. So where does that put you in the Eastern Conference hunt? I think it's safe to say that you are going to be dealing with quite a bit of competition. Now that you have no Julius Randle who likes to play physical basketball, you don't have that. And pretty much that could be a detriment to your chances to go far into the playoffs. So, you know, I'll leave it with you guys. What are the Knicks' chances? Moving forward, you have to obviously get OG Anunoby back. He's not back yet, but he's set to return, right? He's set to return. You obviously had Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson's coming back, Dante, then you got you know, Alex Burks, Bogdanovich. You have quite a bit of pieces, but the question is, how far can the New York Knicks go into the playoffs now? Are they a threat to the Boston Celtics? Are they a threat to the Philadelphia 76ers? Are they a threat to the Bucks, Orlando Magic, Cavs, Heat? I know I'm missing a bunch of couple other teams out there, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like this is a big blow. A big blow to the New York Knicks. So leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. How are the Knicks going to do in the playoffs now, considering the fact that Julius Randle will not be there? Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, Jag from Jaggy Sports.